Okay, so how's everyone doing today? Alright, so my senior year project was done on something that I've been quite familiar with for the past 3 years. I did my project on actually Newton North television and film production. And the reason I chose this was because, like I said, I've been involved in the program for a number of years. And in the time that I've been there, especially since we moved to the new school, I've noticed it seems a number of different problems confronting the program, even though it has so much support behind it, so many resources, and it almost seemed like the whole thing was governed by Murphy's Law. Whatever can go wrong will go wrong. So, which seemed, a bit disproportionate. So, for my senior year project, what I wanted to find out was what exactly is going on? What could have caused such a pattern of sort of crises to hit a program like this, and how can they be reversed? And what specifically I wanted to know in order to find that out is what is the difference between Newton North TV production and other similar programs at other high schools? Do they all deal with the same kind of problems, or is this something that's unique to NNTV? Now, in order to be able to compare it to other high schools, first I had to know, a bit more about NNTV itself. Otherwise there's nothing to compare. So basically, the purpose of NNTV, I'm going to borrow a little line from Theater Inc. here, it's a teaching and working TV production program completely run by students. It is an official publication of Newton North High School, just like the Newton Night or Thought Prints, basically. It's, except instead of a newspaper or the yearbook, it is an official TV show that you can actually turn on your TV at home and watch, or go on the internet. Now, Newton North TV production began broadcasting in 1983, so that's 30 years ago, 1983 to 2013, over continental cable. About 9 years later, the New TV was opened its doors. New TV is the local cable access station. Has the government channel, education channel, the community channel. But NNTV was already broadcasting on TV to the Newton residents for 9 years before New TV even opened, which pretty much makes us the longest running broadcaster in the city of Newton, which is pretty significant if you think about it. The fact that students have been doing this for almost 30 years. What's even more significant is that almost no one seems to know about it, at least until recently. So NNTV primarily produces a magazine format show. Now, when most people think of a magazine, they obviously think of what you read. But apparently, I had to look this up. According to Google Dictionary here, a magazine is also a radio or television program presenting usually several short segments on a variety of topics. Is anyone here familiar with the show 60 Minutes? Sure, that is actually a magazine format news show. Produces a variety of pieces in a longer episode. So NNTV mostly specializes in an entertainment magazine show, although they do a fair amount of news pieces and editorial opinion pieces mixed in there. So it's really a variety of stuff. Now, the reason I took the time to explain all that is because the name of the show is Tiger Magazine, or at least it was up until 2012. Now we actually changed the name very recently. Sort of a very early stage of my senior year project was rebranding the show and attempting to get it more publicity. And whenever we talk to people about Tiger Magazine, they assumed we were talking about a printed magazine. Although apparently in 1983, if you said someone Tiger Magazine, they knew what you meant. Not anymore. But anyway, it's produced by the Advanced Television Production class. That is actually the entire point of the Advanced Television Production class. The show itself lasts about half an hour, and it consists of several short pieces, roughly 2, 5, 6 minutes each, although the longest piece that we've ever had was our coverage of the Tiger Hunger Games at the beginning of this year. That took up an entire episode all on its own. So like I said, the name Tiger Magazine got really frustrating to explain, so we rebranded it. Came up with a new name, new logo. Now it's called Tiger Tube, which I think is a lot more badass. It's still produced by the Advanced Television Production class, but now it's also jointly produced with the class and the new club that we formed after school. That was the second stage of my project was creating the TV club. I'll explain a bit more about that later. The last issue to use the name Tiger Magazine was Volume 28, Issue 4, Meme-pocalypse. I'm not going to go into that title right now. The first episode to use the name Tiger Tube was Volume 28, PAX East 2012. Now, interestingly enough, the most recent episode that we just produced was Volume 29, Episode 6, PAX East 2013. We've been going to PAX East, it's a video game convention in Boston. For the past couple of years, we've been going there, making an episode about it. It's been a lot of fun. But anyway, moving on here. Yeah, the name Tiger Tube, like I said, was my idea, so was the logo. I designed that. So another huge new feature of the TV production program, which I helped start up this year as part of my project, was the new after-school club. Now, normally, in order to participate in the show, a student would have to take the beginner's TV production class, then move on to the advanced television production class, where that's where they actually work on the show. However, some students aren't necessarily interested in the technical side, like working on the equipment, editing, or things like that. Some students just want to act, actors, for example, or write screenplays, or do just other stuff, or maybe just get involved in their free time. They don't have time in their schedule. So that's why we started up a new club this year, just specifically for those students. And the club, even though the club has been led by other students from the advanced class, including myself. But the students in the club have actually been producing the majority of the content this year. So I have a couple of clips here. Do we have, Mr. McGrath, how much time do we have?
About 5 minutes.
All right, so try to get through the rest of these pretty quick. I'll just play this one short clip here that's from a little trailer that we did. So it all seems really great, right? So what's the problem? What are those issues that I was talking about? Well, first off, we sort of don't know what department we're in. Here, let me full screen that again. First off, we really don't know what department we're in. The TV production students themselves are considered students of the Career and Tech Ed department, yet the TV production classes are considered English electives, even though the student facilities that we have have about $600,000 worth of equipment in them. Not exactly something you expect to see in an English elective. And so we've also been, asked to do a lot of favors and stuff around the school, covering the Hunger Games, making the Zytune video the year before, videos for the English department, the Career and Tech Ed department for their own programs. We've been producing that a lot of times in place of our own content, which we wouldn't normally have a problem with that. We're part of the school community. We like helping out other departments. But then they go around and like, hey, let's thank them by cutting their classes. So not exactly very encouraging for us to want to help out other departments if they're just going to cut our classes anyway. Because the advanced class actually last year was reduced from a full year class to the advanced to a half-year class, which is another reason why we started up the club, to sort of take up the slack for the lack of class time. So now that once I had found out a lot about North TV production, I wanted to start looking into other high schools. Framingham High School is a good example. They actually won an Emmy for their program. But most of these programs that I looked at were also in Massachusetts. Coincidentally, I wrote emails, had phone calls, checked up their websites. Pretty much tried to find out as much about these other programs as I could as well. And there were several patterns that I noticed. The biggest one is that all of them had at least 2 full-time faculty. One was usually a teacher who was focusing on teaching the class, instructing the students. Another was a technical director, sort of an assistant to the teacher. They would be making sure all the equipment was working in the background, essentially, doing all the under-the-hood stuff while the teacher was focusing on the class. So really a team effort. Now, what does NNTV have? Well, it turns out that from about 1983 to around 2003, we were fully staffed. We had a full-time teacher and a full-time technical assistant. That's why we've been going for so many years. But around 2003, things started to change. They loaded the teacher with more English classes to teach, and now the assistant technical director spends half her time at Newton South High School, and also is in charge of working on the yearbook. So neither of them are really full-time anymore and actually have to work overtime in order to run TV production as it is. So again, my question was, what are the problems with TV production and what's the solution? Well, basically it turns out that the program is understaffed in its current form, and it has been for the past several years. And it's gotten to the point where our teacher, Mr. Giordano, has finally, after working 80-hour weeks for the past number of years, finally thrown in the towel and like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not teaching TV production. Now, thankfully, I've also learned that the school is going to be replacing him, but if they want the program to, you can't just replace a teacher and expect them to do the same thing. They either need to, we have override budgeting for staff. They can either use that to add staff or, free up the current faculty so they can do their job. That is probably the only solution that is going to solve the actual problem. Now, there is other things that students who are interested in the program can do, because again, the classes wouldn't be cut if there wasn't a drop in enrollment. So obviously the biggest thing students can do is just get involved in the program by taking advanced TV production, going into the club after school, and also just being serious about the stuff. Another huge problem in the program that I have noticed is that a lot of students come to club or take the class without actually, just wanting to hang out and watch YouTube videos. The TV club is about making TV, not just watching it. We watch the stuff that we make. But, but there has been a lot of, we have accomplished a lot over the past year. We managed to rebrand the show, get it a lot more publicity. I mean, the fact that, I'm speaking to all of you guys is a testament to that. Now, the club has been, despite the fact that it's felt like herding cats for a lot of the time, it has been a major success. Despite, like I said, despite the fact that a lot of the students seem unfocused, we've managed to produce 6 full half-hour episodes just in the club so far, which is pretty cool, especially since, like I said, we've had little teacher oversight in the club because of how much work they've had to do with the class itself. And besides that, we also hope to have 1 or 2 more episodes out by the end of the year. And over the course of the investigation, it seemed like, at times it often seemed to the class like, the other departments just didn't care or just wanted to use us and then cut the classes. But it actually seems to have been more of an infrastructure problem, which is partially, in a way that's actually relieving to me, because that's something that can actually be fixed. Apathy, it's not so easy to fix, but it's not so much that people don't care, it's that there's an infrastructure problem and the lack of staffing. So if students can take up, if students can take up more of the slack, and if they can find more dedicated faculty, now that they know the problem, actually it's not, I'm sorry, I misspoke there. It's not that the faculty aren't dedicated, but they're overloaded. They're very dedicated. But once you've identified a problem, you can find the solution, and I think we've done a pretty good job of finding the problem in that program. So, Mr. McGrath, do we have any time left?
Yes, we do.
How much time?
We actually have a few more minutes, and in fact, if I can just interrupt for a minute, I think what we can also do is you guys can ask Johnny questions when he's done too. So, Johnny,
I was going to go
work
back
on
and do one of those other clips.
Okay.
And do the cue. All right. All right. This other thing that I'm going to try to show you is actually a little sort of running gag that we've been doing for the past few episodes, where we take footage from the previous episode and then re-edit it into something completely nonsensical.
Previously on Tiger 2. Breaking news. Senator Rand Paul
has taken over the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah, you can't go to the counter, please.
All right, listen up.
I have a silly walk, and I'd like to obtain a government grant to help me develop it.
Yeah. We're gonna hit them with trap soapbox. It's a trap. Get it?
No more Halo! I'm sick of elites jamming their energy source down my throat. This is a fat nation, and I think Chopper should do something about it.
No.
I should do something about Chopper. Well.
And now back to our regularly scheduled nonsense.
If you're wondering what the heck that was, you're not alone. And so the final thing that I'm hoping to show you is this. Like I mentioned, the longest piece that we ever did was, and actually this was the first thing that the club did this year, was covering the Tiger Hunger Games. That was so early in the year that we had to scramble to do that, but we thought that was a great way to just...
You're watching Tiger Tube!
I'm excited.
What has brought us here today?
I have high hopes.
War, terrible war. Who knows more than some motherless child? This was the uprising that rocked our land. 13 districts rebelled against the country that fed them, loved them, protected them.
We also filmed a reenactment of the mentioned uprising specifically for this episode.
When the traitors were defeated, we swore, as a nation, we would never know this treason again. And so it was decreed that each year, the various districts of Manhattan will offer up in tribute one young man and woman to fight to the death. This is how we remember our past. This is how we safeguard our future. We welcome you and we salute your courage and your sacrifice. And great the odds you ever in your favor.
As many survival items as possible and return them to your pod.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Games afoot.
I love doing graphics on these things. All right, so I think that'll be it for my presentation, and if anyone has any questions, you can wait to the Q&A area, like Mr. McGrath said. Now just log out here.
Yeah, Johnny, we're gonna actually, I keep changing my mind, sorry guys. We're gonna wait till the end, as I originally said, for Q&A. And then we're gonna have 2 more SYP presentations for you guys, so.
Wait till the end of what?
To the end of the, after everyone's gone, we'll have Q&A at the very end.
All right. So who's next down here?
Ian Lund, right? Good, Ian?